Now we've created our RAID device, but we want to make sure that it can be recreated on a system boot. So let's just take a look at this. Now we have our RAID system up and running, but of course we want to make sure that it will stay running. So we can go into our multi-disk administration tool, and we can print out the detail of our current configuration by scanning any of our RAID devices. Let me just authenticate into Sudo. And this then really is the configuration. We have an array working on MD0 using the metadata 1.2, and we've got a unique identifier. So we can look for devices that have that unique identifier, and they participate within the RAID array. But okay, we don't want it just living on the devices as they are running. We also need to make sure that this configuration can be stored for use later. So we can go through and send the information through to sudo and t, -a so we can append to a file. We don't want to be just overwriting files, which is the normal behavior of T. We go into etc and the mdadm directory and the mdadm.conf file. So of course we've written the information to the screen, but it's also now been appended to the file. That file is used when we reassemble our RAID devices. So we can try and stop it. So let's try and stop our RAID device at the moment. So using ---- stop and then the device name, MD0. Now we can see it's refusing to stop. Now this is a good thing. We have mounted it so it's currently in use. It needs to be unmounted before we can stop it. So let's go ahead and carry out the wishes of the gods of Linux. We can umount our secure directory, and now, of course, we're able to stop the RAID device. But the important thing is being able to start it again. So we can go through and use --assemble. We can then scan our devices and look for configuration information that is going to come from our mdadm.conf. But look at this. It's found the devices, plugged them together, and now we have our RAID device up and running. And if we check the status of this in mdstat, we can see then that it is now active and both devices are up and running. So let's just clear our screen and dig a little bit more into the configuration and the idea of that UUID. So if I take a look inside the configuration file, so cat/etc mdadm and mdadm.conf. Now we were appending to the file, so we have the original file content, which happened to be all commented out, but we can see the line that we added in and the UUID. Commit that to memory, or at least a few parts of it. So let's look at the end, 76270. Now let's go back to our good friend ls block. We can drill down to look only at our block devices from loop using i7 and then -f to include the file system information. When we move down to take a look at 19 and 20, we can see that they're Linux RAID members using the 1.2 metadata. They've added the label Ubuntu 0, but look at the UUID for the file system. It is the same for both disks, because whatever we write to disk 1 is also written to disk 2, and it is then the 76270. So isn't this clever?